Welcome to Linguistics You Can Use, February 25th, 2022. I am Sonatina. Let me see. Yes, okay. I'm obviously trying out some new features, music, titles. What is this all about? Well, this is what, progress is, right? So let's talk linguistics, right? This is why we're here. Linguistics you can use. Did I mention? My name is Sonatina. And today we are talking about a couple of words, but they're very related. Teach and learn, right? So why are we talking about these words? And why are we talking them in relation to each other? I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it, right? Because when we learn something, we probably are being taught. And if we are teaching something, somebody else is probably learning something. So, they kind of go together. So, let's pull out the dictionary and look at these two words, where they come from in terms of, their just basic definitions. Teach. I did not type this out on my notes today. I just, look up teach. So we are reading this definition together today. Well, I'm sure I've read it in the past, but I haven't read it in a while. So it is apparently a present participle, according to this dictionary. To give instruction to train. To give to another knowledge or skill which one has oneself. To give instruction in for a living. To cause to understand. That's an interesting one. Here we have those are different words. So those are basically the definitions for teach. To give instruction to train. To give to another knowledge or skill which one has oneself. To give instruction in for a living. To cause to understand. That's a great one, right? I really love that one. Maybe you have an inkling why. The fact that Crafting Sound Meaning, the name of this channel, the name of the business that I run, has to do a lot with meaning, with understanding, right? So when, when this definition says to cause to understand, it implies, right, to cause, to make something happen, to understand, to bring to awareness something that previously was unaware. So let's look up learn. Oh, L. It's one of those middle letters that always gets, kind of muddled. Learn. There we go. It's even one of the header name, the words, yes. So, to learn, not to learn, just learn. It is a present participle. To acquire knowledge of or skill in by study, instruction, practice, or experience. To commit to memory. To come to know or be aware of. To acquire knowledge or skill. To become aware. To be told. So, learn. Well, it sounds like it does have a lot to do with teach, eh? It seems like it is the receptive version of teach, right? So teach, we have to cause to understand. And with learn, we have to come to know or be aware of. And I love those two versions, right? The definitions. Learn, to cause to understand, and no, that's teach. Teach, to cause to understand, and learn, to come to know or be aware of. To acquire knowledge or skill. Learning is bigger, right, than just being taught. Learning involves absorbing information. It involves making knowledge a part of you. Your brain has unique connections that cause your understanding of a particular piece of information, a particular instruction, skill, all of that to be very particular to you. So when we think of learning, right, we don't want to just lean on the um, what is it? Lean on the idea that we need somebody to teach us, right? We don't need necessarily to be taught to learn, though it helps. So, let's hope the throat calms down a little bit today. It might have been a little bit why I was, delayed today. Um, so we're talking today, right, to teach and to learn. So we have those definitions, teach and learn, to cause to understand, and to come to know or be aware of. One of the other things I like about this definition of learn is that it has the feeling of passiveness to it, to come to know or be aware of, right? So that is a bit of a passive understanding or a passive feeling, to come to know. You didn't try to know, it just came upon you. And that's one of the aspects of learning, is that sometimes we do come upon information. We do become aware of information that we don't want to know. And we have to decide how we are going to, um, how we are going to, what am I trying to say? How we are going to apply this information. How are we going to make it a part of our life? And for some people, that means ignoring it. Okay? Today's episode, if you hadn't noticed, is an opportunity to contemplate the idea of language. And that is every episode, obviously, because this is a live stream about language. But the reason that I'm taking my time and really letting myself go through the experience of processing and explaining these ideas to me is part of this experience, you know. Learning is, for me, one of the greatest joys there is to be a human. I am obsessed with knowledge. I am curious. I want to know everything. I don't need to tell everybody everything, but I want to know it. And because of this, that the word learn has a very different connotation for me than it does for somebody else. Teaching and learning, in a lot of people's minds, have to do with brutal punishment. There was a time where a large majority of school systems in the world chose to implement corporal punishment, which is physical punishment, for not following the strict structures of the adults. And so it seems logical that some people might not have the best impression of learning or of teachers. I come from a place, a culture, of people. I in my life have not experienced the learning and teaching these words, these concepts, to be harsh or bad in any way. And so it would be easy for me to say, oh, well, I don't understand, or it doesn't, why would somebody else have bad feelings about them? They are good ideas. Learning is good. Teaching is good. When we share knowledge, it's good. As I just said, right? Not all experiences are the same, even with something that a lot of people, the majority of people, might assume is all positive. So, learning to learn involves opening our minds to ideas, thoughts, concepts that were previously not a part of our minds, right? We create ideas. Our thoughts are created, our memories, everything about our, consciousness exists because of the way that our systems, our brain system fires, right? All of the way that the individual neurons and different other brain synapses and structures, when the way they grow together is so individual that, to me, it only makes sense that the way that people absorb and process information is individual, right? We have patterns, sure, right, we're all human. And I mean, if you're not human, if you're another species and you're watching this, I would love to hear from you. So please let me know if you are non-human and watching this. That would be cool. But I'm assuming you're human if you're watching this and listening to me. And what is it? Brain phrase. Sorry, I got all distracted by the idea of aliens watching this broadcast. So we are looking at individuals, right? Individuality is the essence of humans, and for animals too, but we're dealing with humans right now. And so the nuance between group identity and individual identity is one of those concepts that is hard to kind of parse out, because as humans, we do have certain reactions to certain stimuli in general that is very similar. And because of this, we create societies, cultures, and memes, right? Things mean the same to a lot of different people. And so those people choose to use that as a common point of reference. That's how language works. It's just we have been doing language for so long that we can kind of bypass that part of it, that we can bypass the abstractness of these sounds and just put them in together into ideas, into concepts. But not everybody can do that. And not everybody does that in the same way. So, today, teaching and learning is complicated. And it likely always has been. But right now, especially, the way that we engage with each other, the amount of resources, of references, of information is just unprecedented in our culture, in society, right? In the time that I am living, we have access to more information than ever before. And more of us have access to that information than ever before. And so we've come to a place where we no longer have to worry about teaching facts, but learning how to understand the connections between facts. And it feels like that the teacher-learner, the teacher-student balance is shifting a bit. I think for the good. I think that it is incredibly valuable for people who engage in this profession of teaching to have a student identity, a learner identity first. I know that when I am creating classes, when I am preparing to teach information, I learned so much. And I know that it's not only about the information, because when I am researching information about subjects, I am thinking about who I am going to be presenting these things to, this information. And it makes a difference in how my brain then absorbs that information. So to be a teacher is to be a student first. It is to be somebody that needs to have a learner mindset always. This is how I choose to engage with this, discipline. And so I hope that the exploration, right, this exploration of, it makes sense why I thought it would be valuable for us to go through a little bit of what is teaching and what is learning. In the description, in the little tease I had for this episode, I wrote that the words teach and learn mean different things to our society, to our families, and how those things mix create what the words mean to us. That has always been true, and it will continue to be true. And that is true of every word. That really is the essence of this show, of this channel, of crafting sound meaning. It is about looking really fully at our complex world, at the variety of ways that people communicate with each other, and constantly maintaining a curious mindset in order to craft sound meaning between people. Right? I feel that I go into most conversations, most experiences with an expectation that I'm going to learn something, probably something really neat too. And ideally, it's something that I will be excited to share with others. And even if I don't want to share it because it's not good or it's not like happy, I still think it's valuable that I have the ability to take information from one area of our culture. For instance, I am heavily involved in my local Seattle city urban planning transit stuff, my community. And I feel very honored that I have chosen to engage deeply in this subject. And so I can impart quality information to my direct community, teach my friends, family, acquaintances about the issues, and know and be secure in the knowledge that I am imparting the best information that I possibly can. We are in a current time, as well as I am speaking, where people have various, reasons for putting out information. And that is something I feel as a, adult human, a thinking person, I need to constantly be aware of that somebody else has intentions behind their words. Even if they're not aware of those intentions, there are intentions there. And so it is incumbent upon me to be aware of how they are trying to influence me and determine if I want to go along with that influence. That's generally how I make decisions. I look at issues, I look at who's talking about an issue and what are the people who are engaged in the topic trying to make in the world, really. Not just what are people saying, but what are the actions that the words will lead to. It is always the actions that I try to go to. And I think that action is often, currently, as I am speaking in this present moment, action is often not associated with teaching and learning. There is a perception that I grew up with that I am explaining, that I'm just kind of like thinking about now, that you teach or you go into academia, you go into college, or you stay in the school realm because you don't want to take action in the world, or you don't want to be active. Or there is a quote I remember hearing. What is those who can't do teach, and it always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I always felt that was a very insulting quote because it's true. Not all teachers can actually perform at the highest skill level for what they teach, right? I think especially of musicians or athletes. There are some amazing trainers and coaches and teachers in these disciplines that require an incredible amount of skill and dedication. And some of us aren't born with particular abilities around skills, but we still have particular abilities around teaching those skills. And so that is what we do. We teach. We help those who may exhibit great material skill and say, hi, I can help you direct that. Focus and become your best self. To me, that is a great action. So I feel it is important to always encourage you to make sure that the words that you are absorbing, the knowledge that you come to know, you consider what actions that they may lead to. What is the result of the words that somebody is telling you, or you might be sharing on? And always remember, because of the vast differences of experiences that people have, what you may think of as good or not even worth thinking about to somebody else has great significant meaning and potentially bad meaning. And so when we experience the reaction of somebody else's knowledge, or when somebody else is learning something and they have reactions, it's important to take a moment and think, I am not them. I don't know why that person is having that reaction to that knowledge. I know that I have had reaction to knowledge in the past. So perhaps those are related. That's really the essence to me of teaching, is trying to show people how many similarities we have versus how many differences. Okay? I might not react the same to one experience that somebody else reacts to very strongly against. I might react strongly against a different situation that that person wouldn't react against. And so the culmination that this whole conversation comes to today to teach and to learn is that we are all teachers and we are all learners at the same time. We go through life and learn every day. Our learning might slow down a little bit as we get older, but we are constantly learning every day. And when we put that framework into our active mind, right? When we go into the world and think, I am going to learn something new, even if it is just meeting somebody on the bus or seeing a new, movie, something new happens to you every day. And going into the world and engaging with it and saying, what is it that I can take from this situation? What can I learn from today? And now what do I want to impart upon the world from that? That's the essence to me of teaching and learning. Taking our life and trying to share it so that others can know us in the way that is mutually beneficial for each other. Well, that was a fun conversation about teaching and learning, eh? I hope that you enjoyed this little exploration on the concepts, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this or any other you know, concept around language. Let me know if you have a particular word, a phrase, a kind of, part of speech. What do we do? How is language? What is language? How do we do language, right? If you are curious about any part of that, let me know. Ask a question. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Send me an email. Tweet at me at SoundMeaning. I like to engage on a semi-regular basis on the social medias. And for now, that's all the linguistics you can use for this week. I hope this I'm like teaching and learning. What's a good teaching and learning? I hope this enlightening uh enlightening discussion on pedagogy helped you get out there, have some fun crafting sound meaning. See you next week.